do I want to learn about myself? Do I want to know, actually, not theoretically, is it my deep, committed, irrevocable interest to know myself? Is that it? Is that what you have? Irrevocable. That you are so completely committed. Huh? Now, just a minute, sir. What is there to learn about myself? Nothing. Right? There's absolutely nothing I have to learn about myself. Because myself is nothing. I've put lots of things on it. On this nothing, I've education, science, philosophy, all the things, you've piled it on. All the things religions have said, which are the most destructive things of what religions have done. They've put all this on me, on this essentially nothing. And we are battling, struggling on these things. You follow? About these things. Changing from one thing to another. What am I to learn about myself? That I'm crooked? That I don't think straight? That I'm vain, that I'm arrogant, I'm proud, I'm this? What does it all mean? Words, don't they? Memories, ideas. Have ideas any content? Except that what thought gives to that idea. I wonder if you capture all this. No, this is too radical.
Sir, when you say nothing, I have the feeling of an empty room.
Sir, you follow? Do you know the word, meaning of the word nothing? Not a thing.
So why it's so difficult? Because we are still attached to all these things.
What, sir?
If we weren't attached to all these things, there would be no problem. But being attached to all these things,
That's right, sir.
We don't know it.
If you understand, sir, the whole of my existence, the whole content of me is put together by thought. Huh? Right? Right, sir? And thought is memory. Right? Right? So, I am a structure made by memory. Huh? And it's not, I can't touch it. I can't, there's nothing to say. It is totally unreal living on memory. This is too radical, so I'm going to.
Perhaps it seems to me that I say I am nothing, but the interesting question is how I create the illusion that I'm something. You see, it appears in ordinary life that to each person that he is really something.
Yes.
And he creates somehow that illusion.
Yes, the illusion created by thought.
Yes.
Which is, I am something.
Yes. Important.
And yes, I am something. When that thing is not, I am nothing. And therefore, it is still, so when I say I am nothing, it's still thought. It's not an actuality.
Because there is that illusion that
of course.
thought is always created.
So, how do we accept this illusion? Why do we accept this illusion? About which we must learn. You follow that? Spend years, money, books, thought. No, this is too radical. So I won't go into this much too
not too radical. Let's go into the
Huh? Huh?
I said it's not too radical. We want to go into
You don't understand it then. You understand that it means one has to reject psychologically everything the thought has put together. That's why it's too radical. You won't, I mean, it sounds nice, it looks, you can't just say, well, go into it. So, here we are. We all say, well, I'm interested. Why, I ask you, why are you all here? To learn about oneself. And to say, have you learned anything about yourself while you are here? That you are jealous, anxious, fearful, have a position which you must maintain, you have been wounded, and cling to that wound, and so kind of, live in that, which becomes totally neurotic and all the rest. Have you learned anything? Or are we all playing tricks with each other?
So when we say we come to learn about the nature of the self, we're really learning, if any learning takes place on that score, it is learning about the nature of illusion.
Sir, I'm asking a question, sir. Why are you here? I know why I'm here. I'm very clear. Can you be, just a minute, let me finish, just a minute. Can you be as clear as that? I'll tell you why I'm here. I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you something that is tremendously important. All the rest of it. I know, sitting, K knows exactly what he wants to do. Are you clear? Or you've got innumerable motives?
Hello, are you able to hear my voice?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good evening, friends. I was requested to select a video of Krishnamurti and make some comments about it. I selected this very short video. It is about only 8 minutes, but the title is something very strange. And Krishnaji is asking, is there anything to learn about ourselves? And then he says, there is nothing to learn about yourself. So this reminded me, this was in Brokot Park, and also when Krishnaji had come to Rishi Valley and he was talking with teachers, and he said the same thing, that there is nothing to learn. And Krishnaji said, do you accept this? And Pupulji, she was there, and she asked, how can you say that there is nothing to learn? And again, Krishnaji very emphatically, he said that there is nothing to learn. Do you agree? So at that time, second time when Krishnaji said, do you agree? Then I said, yes, sir, I agree. Then Krishnaji said, you explain to Pupulji that why do you say that there is nothing to learn about yourself? So I said that if we have some problems like fear or anger or jealousy, then there is something to learn that we may ask what is behind it. Why do I get angry? Why there is a fear? Why there is loneliness? Then there is a lot of discussion. But if we are able to see clearly our own self, what is happening moment by moment without any interpretation, without any interference, then that reveals everything what we need to know. This seeing clearly what is happening in our own mind as it is happening. So that means if there is a anger is arising, then there is awareness that anger is arising, and then looking at it, not making any effort to look, but looking at it, then it goes away. So our problems come when we are not attentive. So if somebody makes criticize us, insult us, and if we are not aware, not attentive, then we may become angry, and then we start fight and quarrel about words, because what somebody says is just the words. He is saying that you are not intelligent, but I have an image that I am intelligent. So there is this problem of image which creates conflict. But if I have no image about myself, if I know, see myself as I am, then I can listen to the comments, whether it is good comments or bad comments. I can just listen and see whether it is right or wrong. And then that seeing is important. So why Krishna ji is saying that there is nothing to learn about yourself. It doesn't mean that there is nothing to learn about the world. We have a lot to learn about physics or mathematics, about universe, which is very, very helpful for our daily life. But this psychological knowledge about ourselves, that if we are able to see for ourselves clearly as we are, then there is nothing to learn. But if we are not in that state, the state in which Krishnamurti was, for him it is fine that there is nothing to learn for Krishnamurti, because he is in touch with what is happening. And so even if somebody makes some criticism, he would listen and discuss. But we have a lot to learn even about ourselves when we are not clear. Like why we get angry, why we get hurt when somebody says something unpleasant. So all these dialogues, discussions we are doing for many years is because maybe we are not very clear. And so we need to speak a lot, think a lot, but when there is a clarity of seeing non-verbally, whatever is happening within us, then that seeing is all that is. Because Krishnamurti says that what you call this yourself, what is it actually? It is also a, a entity coming from thinking only, this yourself. And on that entity which you call yourself, you are piling up a lot of knowledge, a bookish knowledge, and then you try to understand. The whole thing is, it doesn't lead you anywhere. So Krishnamurti's teachings are about being alert, awake, moment by moment, without effort. That means um, seeing clearly. So if we see clearly our own thoughts and feelings in the daily life of activity, when we are in the office or we are in the family or we are in some function in society, if we are alert all the time and seeing clearly our own reactions or whatever is happening, then there is nothing to learn. That seeing is the action which dissolves everything. So this is a very, very radical statement which Krishnamurti is making, that there is nothing to learn. And he said twice in this video of 8 minutes that this is too radical. And it was true for him. But we have to question whether are we also in the state of looking, listening, learning without interfering with what we are learning? So if it is so, then for us, there is nothing to learn. We don't need any dialogue. We don't need to read Krishnamurti books because we can see clearly everything. But when we are not free, then we will read a lot of what Krishnamurti says, then we will think about it, and then we meditate about it, and then we come to certain conclusion. And if that helps us in our daily life, it is fine. But it seems to me that this verbal understanding, intellectual understanding of the concepts which are coming from Krishnamurti's teachings, they don't help much. Only awareness. And if these teachings of Krishnamurti are leading us directly to our own mind, where we can see everything unfolding within our mind, then there is no teachings, only learning, watching, listening, and learning. So this is something very, very radical, very beautiful. And that is why maybe I selected this video, that this is a kind of a challenge Krishnaji is posing for us, for teachers, for listeners, that what you call this learning about yourself, and what is yourself? He's asking that question. And he's right. What we call ourselves is actually something coming from thinking. But this attention or awareness is not a part of thinking. And that is the real learning, real coming to that state of attention, which is non-verbal and seeing clearly, whatever it is, whether it is an object like a tree or a human being. So I think I have said enough thing right now. Maybe Dinesh ji would like to say something. Thank you.
Thank you, Harshad sir. Are you able to hear my voice clearly?
Yes.
Okay. Harshad sir has expressed his views. I would also like to express my views on this. Today's subject is very interesting. this is very interesting subject for those who are really want to go deep in the matter and understand JK. Here it is interesting to note that we have to understand JK also apart from the teachings. JK at many places have said that self-knowing is very important, and without self-knowing one cannot have deep understanding. Whereas in this short video, he says there is nothing to learn about myself. So why this controversy is there or paradox is there? In one way, this is controversy or paradox superficially if we see it. So my views are JK has given many such statements at many places. The reason being he is not interested in giving direct answer. And he wanted that people should be awakened so that they can work themselves and find clarity in the matter. It is clear that actually he has played tricks which he had himself hinted in the video. In fact, he has also given pointers about dichotomy which exists between different aspects, and both aspects are true. So it is very important for reader to become sensitive while reading, seeing or listening to JK, and not to become sentimental or emotional or become fan of JK and praise him as to how good he is. At this juncture, it is important to note that while listening to JK, with what context he is speaking. It is very interesting to find out with what context he is speaking. In this video, he starts with the context of the absolute, the eternal, the timeless, non-duality, and he says there is nothing to learn about myself. Correct. Then he changes the context and speaks the things with reference to thought and memory. This is also correct. He says, I am whole structure made by memory. Here the context is duality. When he says, I am the whole structure made by memory, here the context is duality. Further he says, it is totally unreal living on memory. Here also reference is duality. He has used the word unreal for living on memory. But we have already discussed in past that memory has its place in living. All technical matters and even psychological matters which are essential for survival or to tackle insecurity, these are essential. Moreover, if we say memory is unreal, then automatically the actuality also become unreal because reference is non-duality. So let us not go into that as the references are mixed. So in this, he has mixed the references. So it is up to listener to awaken his mind and work for clarity. This is why JK says it is too radical. It is too basic. It is too related to the basic essence. And I would not go into it. At the end, he only asked the questions that have you learned anything about yourself? And are you clear why you are here? K is clear why he is here. But are you? Or you have got innumerable motives? Normally, he has observed that people came to him with innumerable motives. They are not serious. They are not working on themselves, or they are not serious about what JK is saying. So he has asked this question, uh, have you got innumerable motives and that's why you have come here, or why you have come here? So while while listening to JK, one has to be very sensitive, very sensitive. And then only one can have some clarity. So most of the people have become fan of JK, and they say how good he is in talking, how good message he has given, or teachings, how good teachings are. But they are not, they have not found out that what trick he has played, or I dare say trick, or what he has done. Normally you will see whenever he says something, he start talking just opposite of the other question. So suppose questioner asks that what is there to learn about self? He said nothing. Otherwise, so he will start just opposite of what the other says, and then go on discussing, and then try to awaken the other people, and try to make him awaken, so that he can also come to the same level of discussion, and discuss on the subject in depth. We will observe that even David Bohm is sitting in this lecture. So this is very interesting. He's what he is talking. Even people like David Bohm, they are also not able to find out what he is doing. And he has given even pointer also that are we playing tricks with each other? Actually, he is playing tricks. He is clear that he is playing tricks. But whether others are able to understand that he has to check, or where at what level they have gone. So this is what I have to say right now. Then we will see further. Thank you.
Dakshina Murthy, please. Dakshina Murthy, please.
Yes, good evening, sir. Good evening to all. Am I audible?
Audible.
Yeah. You see, I am actually outside India. The internet is not very good, so I am not having the video, but I will give my what I understand from the talk that has been discussed, and also what Harshadji has said. First of all, we all know that the self is nothing but an image created by human thought. And it is not even a real image. In science, we have learned what is a real image and what is a virtual image. Virtual image is nothing but an illusion. It is not there, but we think it is there, right? And also, for example, if I stand in the sun and somebody takes a photograph of me, my body, my photo will be there, and also there's a photo of my shadow also in the sun. So the shadow of myself in the sun is a real image, whereas the self that we are talking about is not even a real image like shadow, but it is a virtual image, which means it is an illusion. If you try to take a photograph of the self, you will not get anything there because it's not there. That is as simple as that. Now, the question is, if the self is a virtual image, the self is an illusion, why are we not able to realize that it is an illusion and remove that illusion from our system? That is a real problem we are all facing. The entire humanity is facing. And he is also telling about nothingness. Nothingness means not a thing. Not a thing put in there in the consciousness by the human thought. If nothing is there, naturally, obviously, the summation of all those thoughts, the summation of all those images, the summation of all the words and the ideas that are there in the human consciousness is the self. And when all those illusions are removed, the self itself is not there. When the self is not there, what is there to learn? I don't agree with Dinesh ji that Krishna ji is playing a trick on us. He is not that type. He is very sincere in what he is talking. He is always talking at the issue from various different angles. It may look like contradiction, but if you go deeply into it, there is no contradiction. When the self is nothing but a bundle of memories, bundle of ideas created by thought, and if that thing can be seen clearly and understand that, not intellectually, but real understanding, like Harshad ji was telling, seeing without the seer, observing without the observer, then there's a possibility of eliminating this illusion called the self. That is what I thought I should convey to all of you. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Rajendran, sir.
Yes, sir. Good
Rajan-
evening, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So, this Krishna ji was often telling there is nothing to learn, only seeing. So he was emphasizing on seeing it and not knowing it. This learning is a very ambitious project to accumulate more and more knowledge. We will never be satisfied with whatever knowledge we acquire. We go on at it, because if we find the other person is more knowledgeable, we want to overtake him. So that becomes a jealousy. Then we will go on adding and accumulating knowledge about anything. See, for learning a new language, Krishna ji will give you a simple example. We have to learn. We have to learn reading from so many books, so many others, and not only from our own experience, from the experience of others also. We can go on learning. So, to know about oneself, that knowledge becomes our memory, that becomes our thought. How the thought, the self, can learn about itself? Only when someone is empty our mind from all the knowledge we so far accumulated. So then only we can again, I cannot use learn about oneself. We can see what we really are, because the self is not a static; it is a very dynamic. So it goes on changing. Any static thing we can learn and accumulate knowledge, and not only our knowledge, not only from our experience or experience of others, but that same thing will how can we use the same tool to see oneself, what type of, to read one's book of life, Krishna ji often quotes. So Krishna ji was always telling he was against freedom from the knowledge. So to learn something, that is a mechanical and accumulative process. Krishna ji was telling, go on accumulating. That is never ending. That accumulation of knowledge, from that we give opinion, we criticize, we judge, we condemn people. How can the same tool we can apply when we are observing ourselves? Observing, how to learn about oneself is just by observing oneself, by seeing. how we act, how we interact with others, how we interact with that is for seeing it. We cannot carry the burden of this luggage of knowledge, and we cannot see oneself. Know oneself. We cannot. We have to make an effort. Effort means there is a self. Again, we are caught in the same vicious cycle. That is what I think Krishna is meaning. Thank you.
Adeen, sir. Adeen, please.
Yeah. So the topic is there is nothing to learn about yourself. So what I feel in this context, learning is basically means analysis or learning by thought as knowledge. So, for example, if there was some hurt in the past and you try to analyze it, or you say, why did this happen to me? I want to find the cause and all. That is actually doesn't help at all. Analyzing it or going or, thought doesn't help at all in that area. And what is the self? So you cannot learn about yourself. So I think earlier also others also discussed on it that if the self is an illusion, then what are we going to learn about it? I mean, when we say we want to learn about it, are we perpetuating it, continuing it, as if it exists, and then we say we want to learn about it? For example, like I said that we were hurt in the past and we want to learn about it. So by just thinking about it, you're giving continuity to that memory which has happened in the past, and we are living in that memory. So even if the person passes away, still those memories are there, and we give continuity to that. So analysis doesn't seem to be the right tool to meet the situation. And meeting the situation would mean meeting the fact and not playing with illusions. So if we only remain on the word level, thought level, and keep playing on thought, keep discussing in thought, adding knowledge and continuing this illusion, I mean, we are not learning anything actually. We are just deluded. So I think the radical transformation is not in that particular area, but in dropping the illusion. And what does it mean to drop the illusion? So if you see something as an illusion, then you don't give importance to it. In some way, you have already dropped it, I feel. So if you see that the hurt is gone in the past, it is no longer existing, that person is already dead probably. It's why to give it that importance, to drop it. So same thing is like, I think we have been trained to use this illusory method or tool to meet life, which I say is thought, and I don't distinguish between thought and self. So once we drop it, then maybe there is something else, perception, and that awareness can use thought, but it is, we don't know how thought arises in perception. It's not under our control, it just happens. It's not like something you can cultivate, like thought normally tries to cultivate. And yeah, so if there is no object of the mental, if there is no mental object, then there is also no mental subject. So if we keep playing with the mental objects, keep discussing, thinking about it, I mean, we are perpetuating the self, and both are an illusion. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Yeah, thank you.
Pradeep ji, please.
Yes, sir.
Pradeep ji.
I'm audible,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Audible. Okay. So good evening, friends. A very interesting topic today. Though short, but it's very deep. Deep in the sense I have taken it a little differently. The topic is there is nothing to learn about yourself. So the main thing is self. Both the things you will recall, whether self is there or not there. You see, according to Hindu philosophy, you have two types of self, the small self and the large self, which you can call Paramatman or whatever, Brahma, whatever it is. But in Buddhism, there is no self. And that is what JK is hinting at. If someone asks me, tell me something about yourself, what will I say? All those memories, my past, that too half forgotten, and like that. So this is all. And he has clearly in between, in this video also, he said, you are nothing. So it becomes very clear to us, it should become very clear to us that we are not these thoughts or memorized memories based on likes and dislikes. So that way, what will you learn? Of course, you can recall only memories your past memorized. But memories are both actions and consequences. You see, in a cyclical world, cyclical or you may call it cyclical world, events are repeated in time and space. And one can be alert about those, not to repeat the same mistakes again. And this happens because it's not that everything happens, because we live in habits also. There are circadian rhythms also in life. And cyclical world, you get things again and again. So that's why at times you get the feeling of deja vu. So it looks very simple, but you have to go deep down whether there is a self and what is there to learn and how much do you learn from the past. Unless until it's repeatable and repeated in the same way, you can probably handle in the same way or whatever you learned from that. So it's not that learning is not there. To me, learning can be there if there's nothing. So now my two small questions came to me. What he's addressing to be caring, compassionate, sensitive, etc. Who listens, who learns, who is of course it is indicating towards something, some entity. But where what we consider as most important, to have empathy, to have sympathy, to have compassion and sensitivity and all those things. For whom? Which is not there. So nothing. Thing is, of course, thing is not there because thought is there as a memory. It's no more there. It's like a ghost. So these things, understanding where this takes place, then JK is not addressing to individuals. This is what I think. And that's why very confidently he talks about it, that there is no individual. You are not an individual. So ultimately, Whereas it seems that he's talking to an individual, to Dinesh, to Dakshina Murthy, to Rajendran, to me, separately. No. What is, to me, he is addressing the whole in the individual, or rather the potential whole in the individual, to awaken that. You see, about then the same question ultimately, what you are is, what we tell about is our conditioning and the past. So what is there to learn depends on whether the things are repeatable, whether things are repeated, whether challenges are repeated in the same way. Invariably, you will not, unless until you are in that routine which we call as our habits, certain eating ways, breakfast, what do you take, usual, some routine, those things. Even in that, if you are not alert, you will again be trapped. So what he is trying to tell us is we have to seek in ourselves, how do we learn? How do I learn, rather, to be precise? Although Dakshina Murthy and Adeen has covered some of these points, but I have to see how much do I learn from what I have accumulated as self, and who learns. There is no entity, you are nothing. Who learns? Or rather, what learns if who is not there? So these are certain questions which come up. We can't upright negate the whole thing. No, it is not there. There is no self and something like that. Then you can't erase it. You can't tabula rasa, what they call. You can't make it blank, blind. Again, to be written in the present. So certain things are repeated, and that's why you say you have not learned from the past at all. So one has to take these things in the right context. This is what I feel. And we can't say that what is true, because the truth again is that changes very fast. Truth is mercurial with the mind. So this is all what I wanted to share with friends. And let Harshad Bhai say something, whatever, if he wants.
Harshad sir, would you please?
Yes, I would say that our problems of psychological nature is created by unobserved thinking. And these problems which are created by thinking cannot be solved by further thinking, because it is at the same level. The problem creating and problem solving are in the same level, so it cannot solve. So one has to come out, if it is possible, to observe the thinking. And that is what Krishnaji calls attention or awareness. So as long as that attention or awareness is not awakened, thinking will keep on producing more and more problems. And thinking cannot solve it. No matter how much you think about, problem will still remain. And these problems, they come suddenly. You don't know. Suddenly something happens. And if the awareness is not there at that moment, then you get lost and you don't know what to do. So what Krishnaji is talking is about this awakening of awareness which can see everything clearly, whatever the thinking is happening. And there is so much knowledge which we have, and we can't empty the mind. At least my Krishnaji could do it. I don't know whether he could erase the memories of the past. We cannot cannot erase the memory, and that memory may be useful too, but it is possible that that memory don't interfere in clear observation. So I may have the knowledge about the person, but when I am meeting that person fresh, that knowledge which may be there is not interfering, listening very, very clearly. Same way with looking at a tree or any object. So, main problem is to come out to a different state, which call awareness, and that is what traditional people, they call it true self. That true self is not thinking, but it can look at thinking very, very clearly. And whenever that awareness or true self is awakened, then you don't need to do anything except seeing it. And that seeing is the insight, and that is the action. Perception is the action. That is what. So, in whole thing, what Krishnaji is talking about, it can become a knowledge for us. If we keep on reading, thinking about it, we remain at the same level, and we can explain what Krishnamurti means by that. It will be an intellectual understanding which doesn't solve the problem of fear or anger or jealousy, loneliness. So, a different dimension. And then when that dimension is awakened, awareness or attention, then there is nothing to learn, nothing to accumulate, but to see as thoughts are coming. And that's why Krishnaji says there is nothing to learn about yourself. And this yourself, what you call, is actually a product of thinking. But the true self is different than yourself. True self is awareness or attention. So in the light of awareness, all the problems which arise due to thinking can be seen clearly. And there is no need to solve it. There is no method, no doing anything, but just seeing it. So that is the amazing thing what Krishnaji is talking about. Looking exactly as it is, whatever it is, whether it is a thought or a feeling or an object. So, okay, I think I have said enough thing right now.
Waghmare, please.
I fully agree with Harshad sir. He has already talked about what I was intent to talk. But I would also like to add that when we say ego is illusion, it is not that in what context it is illusion. It is illusion in the context of non-duality, not in context of duality. This we have to understand very clearly, because whenever we talk that it is unreal or it is made by thought, and because it is made by thought, so it is to be rejected. So in what context? That we have to see. If we say that it is made by thought, then we have to also understand that thought is doing miracles in the world. So thought is very useful, and thought is doing all the things in the world. Without thought, you cannot move. And memory is not that, memory is also part of you, mind, a feature of mind, which is not that unreal. As here Ramakrishna was saying, that it is this is true image and that is false image and it is a virtual image. So if whatever you said, but it is working in the world, it is linked to the reality. You see the actuality. You see the actuality and then you record in the memory, and that is the normal feature. So if you say that this your thought is illusion or your self is illusion, then automatically actuality also becomes illusion, because it is linked to it. So one has to be very clear. If we see from the non-duality point of view, then your actuality is also unreal, because it is a time and space phenomena. It will remain for some time and then it will go. And even in tradition has also explained in the same way, that it is unreal because it is a creation of Maya. It will remain for some time and then it will go. So and another thing is, if it is that unreal thought and memory, then you should be very easily able to reject it or remove it or keep it aside. But that is not happening. Why it is not happening? Because the memory, who is giving energy to memory and who is giving help to memory to keep the things in order or things at place, that dimension, basically, unless it is touched, you cannot remove or you cannot be free from the memory. It is very clear. So ego, you cannot say that that is illusion or unreal or whatever it is. Illusion in what context? In non-duality context, not in the routine context. Routine, you are using the ego and you say that it is illusion. That's foolishness, actually. Let me, it is a foolishness, because we are attending all these lectures and I'm putting my name, Dinesh Waghmare, and you are putting your name. So I think I have made it quite clear, and nothing to speak much about it. And one should go deep. And then only
Thanks, Waghmare. Thanks, Waghmare. Harshad sir, wherever he differs with you, would you please say something on that? Or I must ask another?
Yeah, maybe let other people like to.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Pradeep ji.
Yes.
Adeen.
Okay. So, sorry. Okay, Pradeep ji, I'll go first. Thank you.
It's okay.
Thank you. So, regarding the question which Dinesh ji brought up, that who is it that says that thought is an illusion? Yeah, who is it that sees it? I feel that there is a limit to discussion in that context. So direct experience tells us that thought is an illusion. I mean, after using thought for your entire life, it is unable to change anything. If we see that, then we know that it is useless tool. If we have tried and tried and tried reading, discussing, gathering knowledge, trying to implement by coming to a conclusion, all that has not helped, at least for me. So in Marathi, you will say that doka aptun gine. You bang your head against the wall, and it doesn't help. So that is what tells actually it is a useless tool. But you are right. Thought has its place, but what is it that uses thought? Awareness uses thought. So awareness is constantly learning. It doesn't come to a final conclusion that this is the truth. It never says that this is a truth in thought. So it keeps learning. Even in if you're a doctor, you're an engineer, there is no end to learning. You keep learning. Yeah, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Pradeep ji.
Now, recently, Adeen has said that awareness is learning continuously. So, this also, awareness is to see things as they are. But the learner, if it is, this witness is called learning or the learner, because taking things as they are, then that is what awareness is, or impartial, absolutely impartial view. Again, not yourself is not indulged in that. Then Harshad Bhai was talking about, to make it very simple, because no amount of thinking can solve the problem in the present. Because the present, when you are thinking, when anybody thinks, he cannot see. I cannot see. If I'm thinking, I cannot see. I have seen people who don't see at all. They work with their mind or whatever their mindset is. That prompts them, and they don't see. So when you are thinking, you can't see. And problem is in the present zone, present, whatever. I'm not debating what the present is, whether it has all the time, future and everything, all the time is there in the present. Let us not go into that. But the problem is there, and we now know that the problem, if I can't see problem, the solution is in the problem itself. So if I somehow don't see it properly, seeing, Harshad Bhai also was emphasizing on seeing. So that's why thinking and seeing both cannot go together. Or if you think you are going, if you are doing some machine, you are rectifying certain machine, the same fuse goes out, the same voltage, all those things are there. Then you come back to the same, because that is not. We are talking about life problems, our day-to-day problems, psychological problems. Most of the problems are psychological anyway. So one has to be very clear that whether thinking naturally you stop seeing, and the problem invariably you don't come out of it. But at times, seeing alone, this has happened to me in my research career. Seeing alone will tell you what is the mystery behind this. A number of times this has happened. So that is there I wanted to share about these two things. Thank you, friends.
Ravi Kaushal, please come forward.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, audible.
Yes.
Be visible as requested earlier too.
Okay, sir. Am I visible, sir?
Yeah.
Okay, so actually, I don't want to, I would like to be visible, but anyhow.
We want to see, we don't want to think about it. We want to see.
Okay. So I missed the earlier part of K and some of the K and Harshad sir saying, and what Rajendran sir was saying is that seeing and not knowing it, and sir, and then he says that if there is someone who is more knowledgeable person, somewhere we jealous of him. My question is that to Rajendra sir, why you jealous of the person who is knowledgeable? Rather, I would love to meet the person who is more knowledgeable than me. It's like that. And then Adeen sir saying something, learning by thought or by seeing. We created something, in this all discussion that there is all of the speakers saying about the seeing is more important than the thought, and emphasizing on thought and all that. Somehow, I don't like when the mind has created some conclusion. That thing is that thing. I don't like that. It's not an open thing. Somehow I don't like that. When you have the answer like a choiceless awareness, when you have all the answers and still you are in that terms. So this thing I don't like that. And so that's many people say that the self is an illusion. So is it actuality or is it an idea? This is the fundamental question. You have seen you have seen the self as your table when you see your tables, or is it just an idea you're talking? This is one question I would like to see. And I think one good question is raised by one speaker, that is, who is there to learn? Who is there which is learning all the time? And somewhere Adeen sir is saying that awareness is learning all the time, and I think it's a same pool then. Awareness does not need any learning. It's not. It's a thought which is doing keep on learning kind of thing. It's not about awareness. Awareness doesn't use anything. It's not about awareness. It's only it's just things are there. Either you're learning or not learning. Things are there, and as it is. But awareness is not saying that you must learn or you must not learn. Awareness has no such, I think. This is again the thought. And Prasad sir saying, sir, only nothing and learn still. I forgot what he's saying. And then again, Harshad Parekh is saying that our problem are created by thinking. So whenever you are saying like that, our problems and the solution is like the choiceless awareness, I think we again fall in that, duality kind of thing, which mind has, concluded something, like the scriptures has concluded something, and we are with the conclusions, and then the self goes on with that conclusion. So, so why mind is still thinking in terms of problem, and and you give one solution of choiceless awareness and awakening and seeing and all that. When you give that in the terms of solutions, a problem solving mechanism, I think it's I don't buy that. Some person also said that why is saying you cannot erase memory. I think that's a part that we cannot erase memory. I think identification is one thing. Identification with the memory. It's one thing. If there is no answer, there is no answer. Identification, if you want to erase the memory or not erase the memory, all this is something it gives continuity. And so at the moment you find some true self, and somebody says that there is a true self and there is a non-true self, the moment you find it is the same illusion, million-year-old illusions. We are always the moment we have the answer, and that is the intellectuality actually. The moment you have the conclusion, and what conclusion do with the brain? The moment there is a conclusion, the mind automatically turns into a concept. Then there is a concept, and we are thinking in terms of concept. This is one thing. And this is again this Dinesh Waghmare said that ego is illusion. I said that when you say that ego is illusion, I don't buy that. There is only either the fact or actuality, or there is idea. So you cannot say that I have, destroyed the illusion and all that. This is not something like that. And thought is just energy. Yes, thought is energy, and we see that it's both way working, two-sided swords. It create functional things, good and on the level of ideology and thought, and conclusions and scriptures. It divide people also. Thought is an energy, and Dinesh Waghmare talked about non-duality too much, but non-duality too much. I think in last talk, Shakti sir said very beautifully that non-duality is an idea. We create that idea. Why we go always into the idea? You must be aware about that. The moment you go into that idea, the idea creation of the thought is something, create another kind of traps. That's why I think that they never use, mostly never use that all these things of scriptures and all that. And he always, with the fresh energy, with the energy of nothingness. And this is one thing. So basically, I'm saying that I don't buy any answer. I mean, there's only saying that you cannot say that it is not conclusion. It is not that you have achieved. It's not like that. And one beautiful saying, lastly, Pradeep has said that when you are thinking, you cannot see. How beautiful. How beautiful. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Dinesh Waghmare. Dinesh Waghmare.
It is very interesting to see that we criticize thought when we are having problem, and we praise the thought when we don't have any problem. In today's video, there is a statement by Krishnamurti, which is, we can say that it is the heart of everything. He says, yes, the illusion is created by thought, which is I am something. And when that thing is not, I am nothing. When I say I am nothing, it is still a thought. When I say I am nothing, it is still a thought. So we have to understand what context he is speaking. What is the reference? We cannot, whatever we say or whatever words are, those words are in the plane of duality. And what Harshad sir is pointing out, or normally we say about the choiceless awareness or this thing, awareness doesn't have any polarity. At least we are not able to judge the polarity of awareness. Yes, you can say that one is aware and one is not aware, but it is questionable whether the problem is with the self, that he is not aware, or the problem is with the awareness, that he is not available to the self. So, but we assume, or we can point out that awareness is awareness. So it doesn't have any polarity. So what this gentleman was saying, Ravi, one has to understand that what is the non-dimensional, non-duality dimension. Unless you go to that level, you cannot answer all these questions, or you can not have clarity about all these questions. Thank you.
Harshad sir, if you wanted to say something, otherwise I will end it.
Yeah, I want to say that
Yeah,
we
welcome.
rarely think. Thinking is happening within us, whether we like it or not. Either that thinking is not seen and it just goes on, and but when we become curious about the thinking process, and a new dimension comes where we can see how the thinking is coming. Then it becomes very interesting to just watch, not to what generally people are doing, that they are watching Krishnamurti's video and then they are thinking about it, meditating on what Krishnamurti has said. But something is going on within us all the time, this thinking. So when we become curious, not to understand Krishnamurti, but to watch our own thought. And then when it becomes very interesting to watch, where there is no interference, there is no this thinker trying to change thought, but this awareness, watching the thoughts without any involvement, then there are no problems. Thinking is not a problem. Thinking can go on, but thinking becomes a problem when awareness is not there, and then the thinker comes who wants to change, who wants to solve problems. So then this duality comes. Otherwise, in just thoughts moving by itself, there is no duality, there is no thinker there. But awareness could be there watching. That is, there is no duality between the awareness and thoughts. The duality is between the thinker and thought, which creates the problem. Awareness doesn't create any problem. It can just see things as they are and wonder, with a sense of wonder, can look at even the thoughts. Sometimes very creative thoughts come also. So the whole teachings of Krishnamurti, he says that don't think too much. Don't try to do something. Just relax and watch whatever is happening, thoughts coming and going by itself. And in that, there is learning happens unconsciously. But that is not an accumulative knowledge which becomes a burden. So knowledge can become a burden if there is no awareness, and then we can say Kabir says this and Buddha said that, and then Raman Maharshi said that. All that comes is a knowledge. But in observing ourselves as we are, there's a wonderful state, I put it. And in that there are no questions also. There's nothing to understand. As Krishnamurti said, there is nothing to only to see whatever is happening. And that is a wonderful state of just seeing without interfering. Okay, I have said enough.
Adeen, please finish it in a minute.
Yes. So Harshadji said that thinking is happening. So I think that word happening gives a clue, because awareness is also a happening. It's not something which is cultivated. It is not something which thought can cultivate or do through a method, or there is no path. So it is just a happening. So that's what I also mean when thought cannot touch awareness. It's a natural state which happens, and you don't have to do anything about it. So this doing of thought, it creates the thinker separate from thought. Otherwise, in happening, there is thinking without thinker or awareness. Yeah, thank you.
Next time, Ravi Kaushal, please end it now.